Mayor John Destefano, mayor of New Haven, is joining us on the line now, not from local, but he is, I understand, 5 hours ahead of us, 5 o'clock, where he is in Ireland right now. And Mayor, you must feel, it must feel surreal for you to be this far away from something that is so severe happening back at home.
It's frustrating not to be with staff who are doing a great job, working so hard with the city, and not even be able to find an airport to fly into the East Coast into. Be that as it may, everybody's working pretty hard in New Haven, and you know the message is real clear. No matter where you are, is to stay home. We've got a real problem with abandoned cars throughout the city, just as a lot of other places are at this point. And what we're just experiencing is we've got 12 payloaders and 30 trucks out right now. We're using payloaders to clear streets. We had National Guard Humvees that were getting stuck in the snow, and we're just concentrating on keeping the areas around the Yale New Haven Hospital and its St. Raphael's campus clear at this point, opening arterials, because our first priority at this point is not to open the roads for traffic, but for emergency medical response. We had a scary period of time overnight when our ability to reach people was just hugely compromised. Fortunately, no one got hurt. And then for us right now, that's the big deal. And folks, there's no reason to come out, number one. Number two, everyone should have reasonable expectations about how long it's going to get this state to get cleaned up again. It's going to be a while.
Mayor Destefano, how did you, well, what have you been hearing when you were able to get back in contact with some of your people? What have you been hearing from them in terms of cooperation from the public?
Everybody's staying in today. I don't worry about Saturday, and frankly, I don't worry about Sunday. Worry about when people start running out of groceries. I mean, thankfully, here's the good news. The good news is power isn't out, so that people don't have heating problems in their homes, at least in the city of New Haven. So what it's going to be for us, again, assuring access to medical response. But it's going to be a problem in some of our neighborhoods where there are no driveways. People all park out on the street. The streets are narrower because they were built over 100 years ago. There's going to be no place to put the snow, and that's where we're going to end up with massive amounts of payloaders and dump trucking moving material out. And so the caution here is don't overdo it shoveling, right? I'm sure you guys are repeating that. Watch out for heating vents not being blocked by the snow, and please, please be patient. I mean, we're having the challenge everybody else is, which is we're not able to get all our public safety and streets crews in because some of them don't live in the city, and it's a problem, you know, and we're holding people over even when they're not working. We're just putting them up.
Now, Mr. Mayor, I know you've been trying to get back to the United States, imagine cutting your trip early, but do we have any idea of when you might be back here in town?
Yeah, tell me when I-95 in Kennedy is going to be open, and I'll give you an answer to that question.
Well, it's a good point you raised, because the last we heard anyway was that Philadelphia was the closest open airport to this area. And of course, even if you were in Philadelphia, you wouldn't be able to get here by road.
There's no way to get there at this point. That said, for folks, I'm not the problem. For folks who are in their homes, just stay there. And I know what's going to happen because I saw it with the hurricane last fall when some people didn't have power over 6 or 7 days. I know folks naturally get very frustrated.
Yeah.
But this is going to take some time, and there just are not going to be streets open, I think, until later into the week.
And even though you're out of the country right now, I'm sure you'd want to reassure the folks here that there is a full contingent of staff here working in the city and will continue to be.
The city's Emergency Operations Center, we've all worked together a long time, the senior managers down there. Don't worry about that. The biggest concern I have right now is being able to maintain our staffing levels for an extended period when we can't get everybody in right away. And the second concern you're going to have is people will start driving out. And I'm telling you, they're going to, I mean, again, I'll say this. We have Humvees getting stuck.
Yeah.
No one should be out.
Absolutely right. And fortunately, what we've seen on the streets of New Haven so far today has been virtually no vehicle traffic except for some emergency vehicles and plows and so forth. It's been some foot traffic as the sun has finally come out here, but it is bitter cold as well. What are your concerns going forward in terms of that? I mean, the power is on here in New Haven, Mr. Mayor, but what are your thoughts in terms of the weather as we go forward the next few days?
Yeah, I think, again, the big concern we're going to have is we're going to have folks who are going to need to access the hospital or doctor's appointments. And it's sort of the issue we have when power goes out during a hurricane. The problem we have are elderly who have to keep medications refrigerated or have to have respirators or other equipments going. I think the longer-term issue we're going to have is, frankly, as we do get out of the main arteries and do go into the neighborhoods, if the weather stays cold, the snow doesn't melt, there's literally few places to put it on many of these blocks. And what that means is a very slow process of bringing payloaders in and little by little picking it up, putting it in a dump truck, trucking it out, doing that over and over and over again. I mean, the good thing, obviously, and self-evidently, would be if things warmed up as we begin to move into the neighborhoods. But having said that, to be honest with you, I'm not going to worry about that in the next day or two. We'll prepare for it. We'll get the equipment in place. We'll get the personnel in place. But that's not the challenge in the next day or two.
This is such a rare event to have this kind of a snowfall. Do we have to be concerned at all about the city's budget and its ability to absorb the costs of a storm like this?
Yeah, really, is there a choice about that at this point? I mean, there's not a meaningful choice about that. I mean, this is something that's our responsibility to provide services for. So there really isn't a question about this. We'll manage this. We'll count the dollars. We'll see where we are when this is done. But there's not a choice about what we're doing here. And frankly, when I've talked to the directors throughout the day, I've been very clear about do what you need to do to secure equipment and personnel, hold them over. That's the priority right now, and it's what we should be focused on. And because I don't want to have a situation where we get an emergency call and, God forbid, we can't respond to it. Just don't want that to happen. I want people to feel call 911, check in with us. Call our EOC center at 203-946-8221 and get a response and find out what's going on or go online. But all that said, regard to budget, that isn't a priority right now.
All right, Mayor John Destefano, New Haven, we know that you have called in from Ireland, and we wish you safety getting back home, and thank you so much for joining us.